All right, welcome to yet another edition of Tome Talk with Mr. Silva. And today we are going to be talking about your brain. Your brain is a pretty amazing thing, and it's a big part of the Ninja Band Triangle. We have our heart, and then we have the brain or your mind and knowing and understanding things. And then we move over to the body where we do things and perform things. But today we're going to be talking about your brain. And now I have a question for you. What do you call a fake noodle? An imposter. Your brain is a really amazing thing. And so you can do so many cool things. Like you can do, 3 or 4 things at once, and your brain can be doing all these different things. It's a pretty amazing thing. Have you ever seen the movie Inside Out? Well, there's a scene in that movie where there's some janitor type guys and they're going through with their cleaning stuff and they're getting rid of old memories. And that actually happens. So at night when you sleep, there's a chemical that washes over your brain and gets rid of the memories you don't need. Like, for example, what you had for breakfast 3 days ago. You don't need to remember that. So your brain gets rid of that and frees up space for new memories. Well, if you don't go over a memory over and over and over, that's what happens. You can wake up in a whole new world every single day. But how you keep that memory is you go over it, and then your brain attaches a tiny little protein to that connection, and then the chemical knows not to throw that one away. And so when we teach you new stuff in band, it's really important that you go home and you reinforce it and you practice it, and that way when you come to school the next day, you're still going to remember it. That's why homework can be really important in band or math class sometimes, to get those concepts drilled into your brain so you don't forget them. All right, let's talk about levels of thought in band. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of different levels of thinking. So we're going to start with level 1, and that is what we call memorizing. Okay, memorizing is when a teacher tells you something and you repeat that information. Very, very easy. So this is a pen. What is this? That's right, it's a pen. Okay, so in your magical, mysterious tome, it's on page 114. The example is a whole note. So the teacher shows you a picture of a whole note and says, this is a whole note. And then what is it? Well, it's a whole note. I don't know why it's a whole note or what it does. I just know that that's what it's called. Okay, so that's level 1, memorizing. Okay, number 2 is where you understand. It's called understanding. So when I say this is a pen, and you go, okay, that's a pen. Well, what does it do? Okay, well, I use it to write with. And so I maybe write and maybe say, it's got this ballpoint pen here. It's got this thing right here. But that's what you do with it. You write with it. So now I understand what a pen is for. Well, in your music, I might say this is a whole note, and this is what a whole note does. It means you make a sound for a certain number of beats, usually 4, but that's what a whole note means. Okay, level 3, that is called applying. So now I hand you the pen and you start writing with it. You use what knowledge I gave you and you apply it. Okay, so now we talk about music. So now you pick up your instrument and you play the whole note. Okay, so now you're applying what we talked about. You understood it, you know what it is, but now you're actually playing a whole note. So that's called applying. Okay, level 4 is called analyzing. Okay, now this is where it gets a little bit more in depth. So here's the pen. So what is the pen made of? Well, there's this rubber part, and I guess that's to help me hold it better. There's the ink inside, and then there's the tip where the ink comes out, and then there's this clip, and then there's this thing that does the spring that makes the point come out. So you start analyzing the pen, breaking it down into all its little parts. Okay, so same thing with your whole note. So you play your whole note, and then you start asking yourself questions, just like we ask questions about the pen. So some questions might be, how did I start my note? How did I release my note? What was it like in the sustain part? Okay, was I playing the right note? Was I staying with the metronome? There's a long list of questions that you can use to analyze your whole note. Okay, so that's level 4, analyzing. Number 5 is where it gets really tricky, and that's evaluation. That's where I decide, how do I make it better? Okay, so I start evaluating the pen and I say, well, this spring is, this size, but I wonder what would happen if we did a bigger spring, or, this button right here, it kind of takes a while for it to click. So I wonder if we adjusted that. So you start evaluating the pen. let's take it down to the whole note. Okay, so now I think, well, I didn't start my note exactly how I wanted, so I need to breathe differently, or I need to have my embouchure set a different way, or I need to hold my stick a little bit differently if I'm a percussionist. Okay, so there's a lot of questions you ask about how do you make it better. So analyzing is, how did it go? How was it? Evaluating, what do we do about it? Okay, now sometimes you have a positive answer. How was my note? Well, it started great. So what's the evaluation? I want to do the same thing again. Sometimes it's different. My whole note didn't start very well, so what do I have to do differently? Well, I want to change the way I did my air. Okay, so that's evaluation. And then the last step is level 6, and this is the highest, where it is performance. Okay, now that kind of breaks down with our pen analogy. Normally it's called synthesis. So I would go home and I would actually make a pen. I understand all the parts and I create my own pen. Okay, in music, this is where we play that whole note, but we don't just play it, we perform it. So we're going to that last level, and it's more than just, here's a whole note. It is like I perform it. It's ready to be performed for public or for a grade or whatever. So those are our 6 steps of levels of thinking. So we have memorizing, basic, and then we understand what we're talking about, then we apply what we're talking about, and then we analyze it, then we evaluate it, and lastly, we perform it. So that's how your brain works, and those are the levels of thinking in BAM. And so if you use your brain more and more and more as you practice and as you participate in class, things are going to go a whole lot better. All right, so that is the end of this Tome Talk. This one is on the books and in the bag. We will see you next time.